So for our next step here, now that I've finished up with the CAing of the ailerons, rudder, and elevator, I got 4 HS 325 servos here that I'm going to be using. I'm going to start off here with the elevator. There's 2 servos that's going to be hidden right in this area up under the elevator. I've also got here my servo extensions. They're 36-inch long because we're going to be running these servos from back of the fuselage up to the front to wherever I decide to set the receiver at. Got my 2 gigs 0.4 gigahertz receiver that I'll be testing the servos out with once they're installed back there. So as you can see here, I have the servos installed. There's 1 each for the elevator on each side, and this top one right here is for the rudder. So now I'm gonna go ahead and install the hinges and the push rods. Here's the hardware. Let's keep moving on. Okay, so with the Cessna, I've installed the servos to the ailerons, to the elevator, and the rudder. Let's give it a quick test. I've also installed the AR 7000 Spectrum receiver. So let's do a servo test. Moving the ailerons. Elevators. And rudder. So we're getting somewhere now. So my next step would be, I have the motor covers that we'll be installing where the motor will sit. And here are some dowels that will be holding the cover on. But before I do that, right here on the tip of the wing, the dowels fit here and here. You can kind of feel where they're going to go. I'm just going to poke one here and show you exactly how these going to go in there. There's 1 hole. There's a 2nd hole. So with these 2 holes, the dowels will sit in here, sticking out, and the cover will fit right on top of that. And also in the back here, these will be our screws that will secure any movement of the engine mount. Also on here, there's 2 more holes that run through the wing. So the screw fits through. So this is how this unit will be held onto the wings, with the 2 screws locking in from the bottom and the 2 wooden dowels here. So let's move on to that part. I have to epoxy these 2 in, and I'll be right back with you. Now, as you can see, I went ahead and installed the dowels on both sides of the wing. I want to let those glue and let the epoxy cure. Then we'll move on to installing the unit over the wing. So as you can see, both motor units are on the Cessna. We'll be moving on to installing the motors, putting the covers on, then I'll install the landing gear. Now I've ordered 3 pilots and some seats to go inside the Cessna, so I'm going to hold back on installing the windows and stuff like that. But I should be able to get a taxi here in a couple days when I'm finished with the motors and the speed controls and the landing gear being installed. But we're moving along really good. Everything's coming together, as you guys can see. Tried to go step by step as much as possible, slow it down for you guys a little bit. But it's starting to look really neat. It's starting to make shape for them. The plane, you can actually see it just coming together really good. So the next step will be to install the motors, the covers, the speed controls. I already did the receiver and the servos. To look for the next step, the motor installation.